Alright gamers, welcome back to another episode of the Green and White Gamer here on YouTube. As mentioned, for those of you who might have seen my initial recent video on just introduction to kind of RageMP, I'm back and making some attempt to make some content for you guys. I have been playing a new roleplay server in GTA 5 in RageMP. For those that have seen the video, happy days. For those if not, I'll put a link to the first video in the description. As well as just check out the channel. There's a RageMP overview in there which will give you an idea as to what it is, how to play it, what platform, etc. It is on PC, so if you're a Xbox or PlayStation gamer, unfortunately you're not entitled to be able to connect. Unfortunately, PC gaming is the best though, so you know you should up your game. Let's be honest, it's kind of the future. Minus, we'll forget about the fact GTA 6 will not be out for another couple of years on it. But that aside. So yeah, getting back to things. For those that know me, obviously from Eclipse roleplay times, I'm sure there's probably some people here that may know eclipse-rp, etc. 6 years have come to an end in eclipse-rp, had some great times there. I'm not going to completely badmouth the entire community. Honestly, it gave me like highs and lows over the last 6 years of full-blown eclipse-rp, which a lot of time and effort was put into, primarily as you can tell from YouTube, and a lot of sort of PD and SD roleplay over the years. But unfortunately, all the good things come to an end. I just haven't enjoyed it over the last 12 to 18 months, and even I doubled down and tried to get really stuck back into it, but unfortunately just the community's changed, and yeah, it was time to move on. Upside to that though, it took a few months out, playing a bit of Battlefield and a few different bits and pieces with just mates from back home, having a great time. But ultimately I think someone just pinged me about this new server on Rage that was starting up and ultimately released on the 5th of December, I think it was, and I said, oh, no guarantees I'll be wanting to do any GTA roleplay. I didn't know if I had the willpower to do it, but ultimately I ended up joining the community, getting in game, getting stuck in with their script that they've built and the platform they've built here over in what's called Paradise Roleplay. And I have to say I've been extremely impressed for the last month and a bit that I've been pretty much fully immersed in everything that is Paradise. Run by a couple of guys I think who formerly played on the one that you're always familiar with, potentially FiveM. The script was originally adapted from Vital, but since then the guys have done an amazing job in basically rewriting the entire script and tidying up a huge amount of stuff, as well as a bunch of new features which have already been released over the last, I think they've been working on for maybe 2 years. Particularly over the last 12 months, and even so over the last month as well. Since launch, there's almost an update pretty much every day, and the developers are doing a fantastic job there. So 2 founders, 1 primary developer, and one of the founders is a developer himself, and honestly those guys are doing an amazing job between the 2 of them doing the development. Being a software engineer myself, I know what work goes into it, and I've avoided doing any kind of RageMP development in 6 years, and it's continuing that way. Yes, I'm here to advertise it, talk about it, etc. But and I have taken on an admin role there in the server, as you'll probably see from my videos. But ultimately, I'm just enjoying my experience. I think trying out different things and just having a fun time. I think playing with the guys so far for the last month, and long may that continue. Yeah. So if you are interested, it's on playgta5rp.com is the website, which will bring you to this main landing page. Player count is not accurate. I think that needs hooked back into the APIs for RageMP some way. But everything else basically gives you your kind of overview on how to play, download Rage, etc., as well as some FAQs. There's not currently a quiz or anything to join the server, so you don't have to mess around with the kind of filling out questions or anything on roleplay to get in at the moment. So since it's small community and still building, there's no need for that at the moment. They do have a really nice user control panel as well, which is probably one of the nicest ones I would say I've come across yet. It's probably on par with some of the best in RageMP at the minute, and there is a number of key features in this server that no other server currently has, such as the racing script, which if I get time during this video I will demonstrate bits of, but unlikely might come as a separate one. I will fire a link as well to Paradise's YouTube in the description of the video, and you can check out as you get deafened by the advert, you can get checked out with some of the content that's on there, and an overview of a bunch of the script features that are available as well, some of which I'll dive through in this immediate sort of run through of it. But yes, the panel gives you a nice number of features, a whole bunch of staff stuff which I won't show, and even on the staff side it's fantastic, honestly. So the things that we can do as staff that I've seen nowhere else, is including like helping people out in game even though we're not in game, which is quite awesome. But yes, I'll load up RageMP and I'll dive in and talk a little bit more while it's doing that. All the information you can get for connecting you find on the website, or you can join us on our Discord as well, which I'll also fire the link into the description of the video. But yes, they've been open for about a month, had a good few days in terms of their initial launch. Like every server launch time, there was niggly bits to be figured out that ultimately got fixed. There is a kind of solid bunch of people at the minute that play on a regular basis. There's a number of criminal gangs that have already been set up. I think there's 3 or 4 that are fully active. Still a work in progress with the likes of police and sheriff's department, etc. Recently merged SD into PD to try and centralise a lot of the RP and get things going a bit better. PD is hiring and needing more people. I do have a cop character myself, of course, so why wouldn't I? For creating some YouTube videos, which I'll share some of those in later videos as well. I've got a few clips already ready to go for that, which will be great. But yeah, there is a wide range of civilian jobs as well, from fishing, mining, all the kind of usual type stuff that you would see in most servers to date. One of the quite unique features that they have in this so far is their racing script, which was recently released. It came in as an idea from a member of the community, and I remember particularly taking up the suggestion myself and saying, yeah, this could be great. I think it was like something that was forwarded from FiveM and suggested that could be built in a RageMP server, because none of the RageMP servers currently have it. Glad to say that they built it very quickly. It's one of the key things that are in there at the moment. It is a work in progress, but they've got about 80% of it done. There's just a few bits to tie it together to allow players to basically, get something like a dongle and plug it into a laptop and be able to use it. Right now, it's races started and organised by the admin team, but in future they will be fully open to players, so the likes of criminal organisations, racing organisations will be able to get these dongles, share them and have races and competitions and things. There's leaderboards and stuff associated with the races as well. I'll show you all of this whenever I get in. But as you kind of seen there, you've got a nice landing screen you come into. Your character selection, character creation and things is what you would expect. I'll not go through that in this video in detail, but pretty seamless for registration and your character creation, as you can change all the elements of your character as you would imagine. Then you get spawned into whatever character that you select, and I'm currently on this fantastic little criminal character in one of the gangs here called TBB, or they're known as the Bean Boys. Don't ask me about the name, not my gang, but I'm running with it for now. It's going to be a gang that's started off quite quiet at the minute, a few turfs and stuff we're playing around with, but some more members coming into the server in the coming days, probably early next week, to really kick this off. We've already had some interesting roleplay between ourselves and a couple of other gangs as well. There's a bit of a turf war kicking off at the minute, but yeah, details I guess that I'll slowly get through as you come through with more and more videos. So one of the first things you probably notice is the kind of general HUD and interface. Yeah, the general design of everything's actually quite nice. Initially there was a bit of tweaking required because some of the stuff was a bit grey, and during the snow we had some problems, but yeah, you get things like your health, your hunger, your thirst down along the bottom there, as well as your radio frequencies and your chatter, usual N for speak, M for radio type thing. Have up the top right hand side the Paradise branding, of course, with the Unix and your ID, useful for being able to figure out what particularly happened at a certain point of time, in particular Unix, so it's useful for. And then you've got your cash and your card balance up the top. At the minute it's selected for cash, but if I do Alt P, it'll switch to card payment, which is quite useful in some of the stores, which I'll show you in a sec. Interacting with vehicles, L for unlock, lock, quite simple. There's actually a nice raycast menu throughout the server as well for likes of opening and closing doors, which is good, as well as trunks and things. which is quite nice. If you then select your inventory system is also pretty good. So this is the bag that I'm currently wearing along the top. The left is your on-hand inventory as well as the cash that you're carrying. So the cash is actually physically represented as an item, which is great. Your clothing, weapons, filthy criminal with a combat pistol, and your clothing on the right hand side, and then the trunk space that you're interacting with as well. Enter in vehicle, usual, nothing special. You get this nice little sort of notification system on the left, which is used quite often, and since I'm fortunate enough to be gifted some nice VIP, I have that auto locking system, which is quite useful. Y for starting the engine, simple. There's also a stalling mechanic, which I go straight into the tree. You'll see pretty quickly. You get this kind of stall timer where you're unable to start the vehicle while it's kind of saying that you're stalled, which is pretty nice as well, I think, from other servers that I've seen. Speedometer on the right hand side, everything's in miles per hour. Engine status, so you've like locked or unlocked doors gets highlighted, engine status will get highlighted, your headlights status gets highlighted as well, and you can press J for your seatbelt, which is quite nice. One of the early things in the server that you'll do and come across is visit any of your kind of stores, primarily probably because you've got hunger and thirst and things to purchase. And again, you'll see some of the kind of standard interaction stuff that you get here, the nice purple Paradise branded arrows above anything that you can interact with, as well as alerts, notifications for being able to interact with things. Some of them are interact with Y to open it up, such as this store, and they've got like some nice variations of user interfaces which are quite good, and the store one's quite simple to use. You can use like discount codes that store owners can give out to people, which is quite good. You can purchase whatever it is that you're after. Self-explanatory, easy to use, and at the same time I'll get some nice thirst quenched because I'm a bit thirsty. One of the next things that I'll show, clothing, and how you can kind of customize your characters. You do see some of this when you come through character creation. You'll get some kind of small options for whenever you create characters in terms of what clothing items that you can put on your character, but they actually vary the clothing options that are available per store types in game, which is quite nice. You can't just go to one or any store to get everything. You kind of have to come to different ones to try out different items, and each of them sells different types of things. So you can't, like, you go to a fancy store for fancy clothing and so on, and you can select your kind of variations of clothing. There's actually quite a lot in here. Initially I thought when I first joined, oh, this is not great. Then I realized I can go to some other stores to find items that aren't, that I couldn't originally find. I was like, that makes sense. So there's actually quite a lot of variation, which is good. Then you just purchase your items as you kind of move along. You can zoom in and see different body parts as well, which is quite good, and you can also rotate the character. Self-explanatory.
Convenient.
Fuck off. Alright, one other thing that I actually quite like here is the dealerships. You essentially pull up to a number of dealerships all dotted around the city. Which one? We've got this kind of nice one here down in the main part of the city near Motorsports. Motorsports just up the road, but it's a lot of the credit store vehicles. But you essentially come into the dealer and interact with the person at the desk by pressing Y. This brings up a real nice vehicle preview, I guess, inside the dealership itself, which I think is quite nice. Lets you see all the vehicles that are listed for sale by pictures on the left, as well as whenever you click them, you get a full 360-degree preview of each of the cars, which is amazing, as well as the kind of overview of its speed, acceleration, braking, and handling on the right. And then you can use these sliders to also select the colour that you'd like to purchase of the vehicle, which I love. Green. Green is pretty much in for me right now. Price, all of which is kind of adjusted for the economy at the minute, and again, the usual kind of stores. You can get discounts from like business owners that might be able to provide certain discount codes, which are all available through their kind of in-game business menus, which is quite good. Once you purchase these, they are then essentially brought out into the garage at the side where you pick them up. I don't have money to be thrown around right now to buy another one, but yeah, they will pretty much appear in here, and then you drive them out through the garage, which is really good. There is a lot of content that I could show you guys from between a lot of the civilian jobs, which I did try out when I initially joined the server, to the criminal side of things. Like, there is a vast amount that you can do in terms of like civilian jobs and things, or just factions that you can join as well, all available to kind of view via our forum, which I highly recommend people check out. As I mentioned maybe earlier in the video, particularly LSPD at the moment, we need as many people as we can get. We're a bit lacking in that area, but I'm sure we will build that up. Commitment from the server has been pretty good so far. We have a solid amount of players that do come and play with us pretty much every day. Sometimes they're busier than others. Obviously we're pushing population of around 20 to 30 at the minute, but or even maybe 15 to 30 depending on what's going on, events every weekend and things. But yes, more people that commit to it the better, because that will continue to grow over time, and we have a really great team here, people here at the minute, from staff and dev, who are just continuously going to push. We ain't giving up. So yeah, there's a ton of stuff that I could show you, but what I'm going to do is focus on just a couple of the jobs that I kind of like. In fact, one of them, I'll show you the fishing job, because I think it's quite nice. And then I'll take you through some of the criminal stuff that I've kind of been through as well. But yeah, fishing's really simple. Drive to the pier, interact with the fishing bait store here, where you can pick up a fishing rod for quite cheap, as well as the bait that you want to use. I don't think it matters which kind of bait it is, just add some variety. At least I assume developers don't let it in their secrets, but yeah, you essentially select the bait that you want to use, then you drive over to any kind of area where you can fish, which is essentially any body of water. I highly recommend people to do that at the pier. Personally, I think hotspots are great for servers where people can gather and actually interact with other players, because that's why we're all here. And you can use the command /fish to cast your rod, or to cast it out, and you have to select your bait with Q and E, and then, or Q I think, and then just use E to cast your rod. You can also use the middle mouse button and your mouse wheel to choose how far out to cast your rod, which is quite nice. I didn't actually show it here. And then it's just a waiting game. So you wait for a mini game to come up, which will be actually like fishing, and this is something I've not seen anywhere else, whereby essentially you are reeling in an actual fish. You'll see it attached onto the end of the hook, and you're slowly pulling it up out of the water and actually up to the top of the fishing rod, which is quite nice, and I'll show you in a sec when it actually happens. You then take the fish that you've bought or you've caught, and you sell it at like a restaurant. There's like a fishing drop-off place, and each of the fish have different values associated with them depending on the type of fish that you've actually caught. I think it basically just skips forward here to take some time, like a few minutes sometimes, but you get this mini game eventually, and it's about pressing E until you get the fish up to the top, and you try to keep it into the green area on the little slider here, which is quite cool. I think at the very start this was really difficult, and I was like staring at the screen being like, if I blink here I'm gonna miss this, but I think they made some tweaks to it and it's a bit easier now, which is good, because I encourage people to fish. It's actually good money. But there you go, the fish up to the top, awesome. Criminal stuff, honestly, I think I could make maybe 5 to 10 videos on. There's quite a lot that you can do on the crim side, and I think that's probably why we've got 4 criminal gangs at the minute, and probably more to come. There is a vast amount of script that has been dedicated to criminal activity, which is a great thing, because sometimes the PT stuff is very easy to get through. One of the particular things I'm showing right now is the seed planting for ecstasy. So you plant up in Chiliad, I think there's a number of different fertile areas, your different seeds, and you grow your different plants. There are a number of different drugs that are available. In this case I just chose ecstasy, and you can see that they kind of, you plant your seed and then a few minutes later almost it grows, but yeah, basically it's planting a big long line and then essentially picking them back up and collecting them. You can then go to a number of different areas in the city and essentially purchase more ingredients for drug making. So in the case of ecstasy there's a few different ones that you need, and then you can essentially grow or convert them into actual drugs through cooking via drug tables, which are dotted around the map in quite a vast amount. There's maybe more than 20. I think there's quite a lot of different drug labs and things dotted around the map. ATM robberies as well, which you just seen. Since this clip was actually recorded, which you'll kind of hear me in the background. The ATM robberies have changed. You kind of buy like a console now, and you cut them off the wall, and then you've got to use a crowbar to break into them. Quite good, but just giving you a bit of a flavour of the kind of first ever clip of like Criminal Steve in action. You know, he's got a different name, and I shall not give it away just yet. But I was running around that day trying to get a bunch of cash, and I was like, nope, I'm not being caught. So I usually give them a bit of a chase, but at that point I was like, how quickly can I lose them? Gone, just like that. With that stupid laugh. Pretty much was able to get rid of him quite quickly. But yeah, I think that's as much as I'm going to showcase today. There is a lot of stuff that we can do. Great new server, Paradise. As I said, links are in the video itself, so do check us out, and hopefully I'll hear from you very soon.